The rain hammered the tin roof of our family's old shotgun house in Baton Rouge like God's own fists, drowning out the distant wail of an ambulance on the interstate. I stood there in the dim kitchen light, shirt soaked through, staring at William, my little brother, all of 19 and still carrying that boyish softness in his cheeks that made my chest ache like a fresh bruise. "Chris," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder, "don't make me choose between you and everything else." And in that split second, with Mom's ghost still haunting the empty fridge and Dad's beer cans rattling in the sink, I crossed the line I'd sworn 1,000 times I'd never touch. It started 6 months earlier, back when the Louisiana humidity clung to everything like regret, and our world hadn't shattered yet. I was 25, scraping by as a mechanic at Uncle Ray's garage on the edge of town, grease under my nails and a perpetual sunburn across my shoulders from welding truck frames under that merciless sun. William was the golden boy, the one who'd gotten the scholarship to LSU for track, lean and fast, with legs that ate up the 400-meter dash like it was nothing. Everyone said he looked just like me but better. Same dark curls, same hazel eyes that caught the light wrong and turned stormy, but his smile didn't carry the weight of our family's fuck-ups. Not yet. Anyway, we grew up in that house on Oak Street, the kind of place where the paint peeled in summer and the floors creaked like they were whispering secrets. Dad was a roughneck on the rigs out in the Gulf, gone for weeks at a time, coming home reeking of oil and bourbon, his hands calloused enough to sandpaper your skin. Mom tried, God. She tried, with her night shifts at the diner and her endless casseroles that tasted like love and desperation. But cancer took her when William was 15, a quiet thief that slipped in during chemo and left us with medical bills stacking like Jenga blocks. I dropped out of community college to take care of him, working doubles so he could chase his dreams on the track. "You're the big brother," she'd whisper from her hospice bed, her fingers thin as spider silk in mine. "Keep him safe, Christopher. He's got your heart in him. Safe." What a joke. By the time William hit freshman year at LSU, I was living in the basement apartment a block away, crashing on the couch when Dad was on a bender. We'd always been close, too close, maybe. Sleepless nights trading stories under the covers when we were kids, his small body curled against mine during thunderstorms. High school wrestling matches where I'd cheer louder than anyone, ignoring the sideways glances from the other guys. And yeah, there were moments. The way his laugh lit up a room, or how he'd sling an arm around my neck after a win, sweat-slick skin pressing close, breath hot on my ear. To pull away, joke it off, bury it deep. Because that's what you do in a town like this, where the Bible thumpers at First Baptist preach fire and brimstone on Sundays, and the Friday night lights hide more sins than they illuminate. But college changed him. William came home for breaks buzzing with that big city energy. Baton Rouge might as well have been New York to us, with stories of frat parties and girls who flirted like it was a sport. Except there weren't girls. Not really. He'd dodge questions, change the subject to track times or the Saints' shitty season. I catch him watching me sometimes, over breakfast at the Formica table, his fork pausing mid-air, eyes lingering a beat too long on the tattoo snaking up my forearm, a faded eagle from my dumbass Marines phase before I washed out with a bum knee. "You ever think about what comes after?" he'd ask, voice low, like Dad might hear from the living room TV. "After what?" I grunt, pouring coffee black as tar. "After all this. The garage, the house, us," I'd shrug it off. "We keep moving, Will." That's it. But inside, he gnawed at me, because I knew what us meant to me, even if I'd never said it aloud. It wasn't just brotherly love. It was the kind that twisted your guts at night, leaving you hard and ashamed under the sheets. I dated a girl from high school here, a bartender there, but it never stuck. They saw the grease monkey with the steady job, not the guy who dreamed of packing William up and driving west until the bayous turned to mountains. Gay in the South? That's a secret you carry like a loaded gun, especially when it's aimed at your own blood. The first crack came during spring break his sophomore year. Dad had blown his rig bonus on a business trip to Biloxi, code for blackjack tables and hookers, and the house was ours. We fired up the grill in the backyard. Ribs slathered in sweet baby rays, beers chilling in the igloo cooler Mom used for crawfish boils. William was home for good that weekend, track season over, and he looked different. Broader in the shoulders, that runner's build filling out his tank top, a shadow of stubble on his jaw. We shot the shit about nothing, how the Tigers were going to choke in the SEC again, until the sun dipped low, painting the sky blood orange over the chain-link fence. He cracked open his third beer, foam spilling over his knuckles, and fixed me with that look. Chris, you ever, been with a guy? The question hung there, thicker than the smoke from the charcoal. My heart slammed against my ribs like a piston. I took a long pull from my bottle, buying time. Why? You scouting for the team or something? He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. Nah. Just stuff happens up there. Parties get weird. And I keep thinking about you. Me. Not some faceless frat bro. The word lodged in my throat, sharp as a fishhook. I set the tongs down, wiped my hands on my jeans. Thinking what? Will? He stood, closing the distance between us in 2 strides, the grass crunching under his flip-flops. Close. He smelled like Axe body spray and fresh-cut lawn, that boyish scent that always undid me. Like, if it was you, it'd make sense. No hiding, no bullshit. I should have shut it down. Pushed him away, cracked a joke about hitting the head. But the beer buzzed in my veins, and the empty yard felt like the whole damn world. Will, I said, voice rough, that's not. His hand on my arm stopped me cold. Fingers warm, tentative, tracing the ink like he'd mapped it in his dreams. Please, Chris. Just once. Show me. The ribs charred on the grill behind us. Forgotten. I pulled him inside, the screen door slamming like a gunshot, and in the shadowed hallway where Mom's photos lined the walls, smiling ghosts watching us, we kissed. It was clumsy at first, teeth clacking, breaths ragged. Then it deepened, his mouth opening under mine like a secret unfolding, hands fisting in my shirt. We stumbled to my old room, the one with the twin bed and posters of Kurt Cobain peeling at the edges. And there, in the tangle of sheets that still smelled like teenage sweat, I offered him too, my body, my heart, the forbidden fruit we'd both been starving for. It wasn't gentle. It was hunger, raw and unfiltered, years of pent-up what-ifs exploding in gasps and moans that echoed off the cypress walls. He was eager, all wide-eyed trust and trembling limbs, whispering my name like a prayer as I guided him, slow at first, then desperate. Love you, Chris, he murmured against my neck, and I broke, shattering into him with a sob I couldn't choke back. Afterward, we lay there slick and spent, his head on my chest, the ceiling fan whirring lazy circles above us. This changes nothing, I lied, stroking his hair. And everything, we kept it buried that summer, like contraband in the floorboards. Stolen glances over dinner when Dad was passed out in his recliner, fingertips brushing in the truck cab on drives to the levee. William re-enrolled at LSU, but weekends blurred into hours. Nights in my apartment where we'd fuck like it was salvation. Days pretending we were just brothers shooting hoops at the park. I told myself it was temporary, a phase born of grief and isolation. But every time he left, Baton Rouge swallowing him whole, I'd pace the linoleum until my feet bled, counting hours till Friday. Fall rolled in humid and heavy, leaves turning gold before they drowned in the gutters. Dad started noticing little things, like how William lit up around me, or the way I'd linger too long saying goodbye at the door. "Boys got a girl?" He'd slur one night, cracking a Miller High Life. I laughed it off. Nah, just track keeping him busy. But suspicion festered, sour as the bayou after a storm. The betrayal came swift, a knife in the ribs from the one person who'd sworn silence. Uncle Ray, Dad's brother, the garage owner with the comb-over and the Confederate flag sticker on his truck, caught us. It was a Tuesday, rain sheeting the windshield as I dropped William off after a study session that left my neck bruised and my heart full. Ray was there, early for his smokes, peering through the fogged glass like a hawk. He didn't say a word that day, just clapped me on the back too hard, ice cold as gator hide. 2 weeks later, he told Dad. Over whiskey at the VFW hall, voices low but carrying on the wind back to our street. I came home to the screaming, Dad's bellow shaking the foundation, William's sobs cutting through like shrapnel. "You sick fuck," Dad roared, face purple, veins bulging in his neck. He lunged at me, fist connecting with my jaw in a crack that tasted like copper. William threw himself between us, skinny arms flailing. "Stop, it's not his fault. It's mine," Dad backhanded him, hard enough to split his lip, blood blooming on the faded LSUT. "Both of you? Jesus Christ. What did I do to deserve this perversion under my roof?" I tackled Dad to the ground, pinning his thrashing bulk, years of shop fights surging through me. "You touch him again, and I'll kill you," I snarled, spit flying. William scrambled back, eyes wild, clutching his face. The cops came, neighbors dialing 911 like it was entertainment, and hauled Dad off in cuffs for assault. But the damage was done. Word spread faster than kudzu. Christopher and William, the faggot brothers, turning the town into Sodom overnight. We fled to my apartment that night, William's duffel slung over his shoulder, my jaw swelling purple under an ice pack. "We'll go," I said, packing what fit in the truck bed clothes, Mom's rosary, the shoebox of photos. "California. Start over." He nodded, curled against me on the sagging couch, but his eyes were hollow, the spark dimmed. "What if they find out at school? What if everyone knows?" "They won't. Not if we don't let them." I kissed his temple, tasting salt. But doubt crept in, cold and insidious. LSU suspended him pending investigation. Anonymous tips, Ray's doing, and the scholarship evaporated like morning mist. Friends ghosted. Texts went unread. Baton Rouge, our cradle and cage, spat us out. The drive west was a blur of interstates and truck stops, Heartland radio crooning Johnny Cash anthems about lost highways. We aimed for San Francisco, rainbow flags and acceptance, the promise of a city that didn't lynch you for loving wrong. William slept against the window, bruises fading to yellow, while I gripped the wheel white-knuckled, replaying Dad's rage, Ray's sneer. Betrayal burned deepest from family. Blood turned venom in your veins. We made it to the Bay Area on fumes and ramen, crashing in a Haight-Ashbury flophouse that smelled of patchouli and regret. I found work welding at a shipyard in Oakland, days blurring into nights of foghorns and aching bones. William enrolled at community college, majoring in graphic design, his track dreams shelved like old trophies. We rented a studio walk-up, posters of the Golden Gate masking the peeling plaster, and for a while, it was ours, a fragile piece built on takeout Thai and midnight confessions. But trauma festers, doesn't it? William withdrew, shadows under his eyes from nightmares where Dad's fists rained down eternal. I miss running, he'd murmur, staring at the fog-shrouded hills from our fire escape. Miss feeling free. I pull him close, make love slow and worshipful, tracing the scars, physical and otherwise, like maps to forgiveness. You're free now, I'd whisper. With me, yet the lie cracked under pressure. 6 months in, he started going out bars in the Castro, where twinks in skinny jeans danced under neon, and older guys bought rounds with eyes like predators. Just to blow off steam, he'd say, coming home at dawn with stubble burn on his neck that wasn't mine. Jealousy clawed my gut, but I swallowed it. He was young, healing in ways I couldn't touch. Until the night I followed him, paranoia a live wire in my blood. The club pulsed with bass that rattled my teeth, disco balls spinning fractals over sweat-slick bodies. William was there, pressed against some silver fox in a button-down, laughing that laugh I'd thought was only for me. My vision tunneled. I shoved through the crowd, yanking him off the guy by the collar. What the fuck, Chris? He yelled over the synth, eyes flashing betrayal. You're mine, I growled, possessive and ugly, the words tasting like the South's bitter rot. He wrenched free, storming into the alley, rain slicking the bricks. You don't own me, this us it's poison. We ran, but it followed, tears mixed with the downpour, his face a mask of anguish. I love you, but it's killing me. The guilt, the hiding. I can't breathe. I reached for him, desperate. Then we'll fix it. Therapy, whatever. Just don't. No. His voice broke, final as a slammed door. I need space. To figure out who I am without you holding the pieces. He left that week, couch surfing with a classmate from design class, a pretty boy with tattoos and trust fund vibes. I spiraled booze after shifts, fists into walls until my knuckles split. The shipyard foreman caught me nodding off under a crane, and just like that, pink slip. Alone in the studio, Mom's rosary dangling from the bedpost, I stared at the ceiling, the weight of it all crashing down. Betrayed by blood, by love, by my own damn heart. Rock bottom came in a tenderloin dive, whiskey burning a path to oblivion, when William's text lit my phone. Dad's dying. Liver. Come home? Home. The word mocked me. I booked a red-eye, the plane slicing through storm clouds like my conscience. Baton Rouge hadn't changed. Same humid choke, same judgmental stares as I pulled up to the hospital in a rental that smelled like new car and false hope. Dad lay shriveled in the bed, tubes snaking like accusations, Ray hovering in the corner with a Bible and a scowl. William was there, thinner, his curls longer, eyes red-rimmed. We didn't touch. The air crackled with unspoken wars. He asked for you, William said, voice flat. Dad's eyes fluttered open, milky and mean. Christopher, he rasped, hand twitching toward mine. I took it, calluses softened by disease. Forgive me, son. The words hung, fragile. All the rage, the fists, the disownment, it boiled, then evaporated, leaving pity. Yeah, Dad. Forgiven. He nodded, a tear tracking into his pillow, and slipped away at dawn, monitors flatlining to the rhythm of my heartbeat. Funeral was a blur of casseroles and condolences, Uncle Ray muttering prayers over the casket like they could bury the truth. William and I stood side by side at the grave, dirt sifting through magnolia leaves, the preacher droning about redemption. "What now?" he whispered, our pinkies brushing accidental intentional. I looked at him, really looked, the boy who'd become a man in the fire we'd lit. "Whatever we want. No more running." He squeezed my hand, brief but electric. "I'm sorry, Chris. For leaving. For everything." "Me too." The first rain of summer pattered the umbrellas, washing clean the lies. We didn't go back to San Francisco together, not right away. William finished his degree. I patched things with the garage. Ray's grudge thawing under Dad's will, which split everything 50-50 between us brothers. Time healed crooked. Therapy sessions in a strip mall office where a soft-spoken shrink unpacked our baggage. No judgment, just nods and tissues. We dated others, me, a barista with laugh lines, him, a runner from the track club, but the pull lingered, magnetic north. A year later, on the anniversary of that first kiss, he showed up at my door with a bottle of bourbon and eyes like home. "I tried," he said, stepping inside, the screen door sighing shut. "Tried being normal. But it's you. Always was. We didn't rush it this time." Slow dances in the kitchen to Springsteen on the radio, hands rediscovering paths worn smooth. No more secrets, we came out piecemeal, to Ray first, who grumbled but showed up to Thanksgiving with pecan pie. To the town, whispers fading to shrugs in a world shifting slow but sure. William got scouted for a design firm in Austin, but he stayed, building a life thread by thread with me. It's not fairy tale. Nights when old ghosts rattle the windows, days when prejudice knocks like a bad debt collector. But in the quiet hours, tangled in sheets that finally feel like ours, I hold him and know, love like this, born in betrayal and blood, is the most human thing we'll ever do. Flawed, fierce, forever. The humid air of Baton Rouge wrapped around us like a noose as we drove back from the cemetery, the truck's AC wheezing its last breaths. William fiddled with the radio, static crackling between Merle Haggard ballads, until he landed on something soft, Bon Iver, all falsetto ache that mirrored the hollow in my chest. Dad was gone, buried under red clay and crepe myrtles, but his shadow stretched long, darkening the road ahead. "You think he's really at peace?" William asked, voice small, staring out at the passing shotgun houses with their porches sagging like tired shoulders. I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles whitening against the cracked leather. "Hell if I know. But we are, Will. Starting now." It was a promise I clung to, even as doubt gnawed the edges. The funeral had been a circus of small-town piety cousins in ill-fitting suits, Aunt Lorraine dabbing her eyes with a lace hanky while gossiping about that unfortunate business with Ray in the vestibule. They'd stared at us. The prodigal brothers returned, measuring the space between us like it held dynamite. We pulled into the driveway of the old house, gravel crunching under tires worn bald from cross-country miles. It looked smaller now, shabbier, the roof mossed over, the azaleas Mom planted choking on weeds. Inside smelled of dust and disuse, Dad's ghost in the lazy boy with its permanent dent, empty long necks glinting on the coffee table. William dropped his keys on the counter, the clink echoing too loud. "Feels like breaking and entering our own life," he muttered, kicking off his boots. I nodded, pouring us shots from Dad's stash, cheap Evan Williams that burned going down. To endings, we clinked glasses, eyes locking over the amber liquid, and for a heartbeat, it was just us again, the world outside fading to white noise. But then the phone rang, shrill as a banshee, shattering the moment. It was the lawyer, droning about probate and assets, the house, the truck, a piddly life insurance payout split between us. "Your father left a note," he added, hesitant. "For both of you." We drove to his office the next morning, the Mississippi River sluggish and brown under the Highway 1 bridge, barges groaning like weary sinners. The envelope was plain manila, sealed with tape yellowed by time, Dad's scrawl jagged across the front. "For my boys." William's hands shook as he tore it open, unfolding the lined notebook paper that smelled faintly of motor oil and regret. "Christopher and William, if you're reading this, I'm worm food, and you two are still standing." Good. I wasn't much of a dad. Booze and pride blinded me. What Ray told me. It broke me, but that's on me, not you. Love's a bitch. Don't matter who it's for. Protect each other. That's all I got left to say. Forgive an old fool. Sell the house if you want. Live free. Dad. William's breath hitched, a sob escaping before he could cage it. He crumpled into me right there in the vinyl chair, face buried in my shoulder, shoulders heaving. I held him tight, murmuring nonsense. "It's okay. I've got you," even as my own throat closed around unshed tears. The lawyer cleared his throat awkwardly, sliding papers across the desk. "Sign here. The place is yours." We sold it 2 months later, a young couple from Shreveport snapping it up for a steal, visions of flipping it into a starter home dancing in their heads. The check cleared just enough to pay off Dad's debts and give us each a nest egg. Mine for a down payment on a modest rancher in Prairieville. His for tuition at Baton Rouge Community College, bridging the gap to a state school design program. It wasn't riches, but it was freedom, unyoked from the anchor of Oak Street. Life settled into a rhythm, tentative as a heartbeat after cardiac arrest. I went back to the garage, Ray grunting a half-assed welcome. "Don't fuck up the books," his way of saying truce. The other guys ribbed me light at first. "Heard you went Hollywood. Pretty boy." But it faded, replaced by the familiar clang of wrenches and the sizzle of arc welders. Nights, I'd come home to my new place, a 2-bedroom with a yard big enough for a grill and a hammock strung between live oaks, and cook gumbo from Mom's recipe, spicy enough to sweat out the day's grime. William crashed with me most nights, his dorm a ghost town of textbooks and half-eaten ramen. We'd eat on the back porch, fireflies winking in the dusk, talking everything and nothing. His latest Photoshop project, a gritty mural of the levee at flood stage. My beef with the new foreman over overtime. The air between us hummed, charged but chaste, no rushing back to old habits. We were healing, or trying to, one awkward conversation at a time. It was during one of those evenings, cicadas droning their symphony, that he brought up therapy. "I saw this flyer at school," he said, picking at his label on the beer bottle. "Group 4. Guys like us. Families, too. Processing shit." His cheeks flushed, that boyish pink I remembered from high school locker rooms. I leaned back, boots propped on the railing. "You think we need it?" He met my gaze. "Steady." "I do. The nightmares. They're less, but when they hit, it's like I'm back in that alley, rain mixing with blood. And you, punching walls till your hands look like ground beef? We can't keep pretending we're fixed." He was right, of course. I'd started seeing a counselor on my own, a no-nonsense woman named Dr. Patel, with a thick accent and a knack for cutting through bullshit. Trauma bonds, she'd called it, her pen tapping the notepad. Incestuous dynamics complicate attachment. You're not villains, you're survivors. But unpack it, or it'll unpack you. The group met in a strip mall community center off Florida Boulevard, folding chairs in a circle under fluorescent buzz. First session, I sat rigid, arms crossed, scanning the room. A dad with a trans son, eyes haunted. A mom clutching rosary beads, lips moving silent prayers. William beside me, knee jittering against mine. The facilitator, a burly ex-Marine named Tom with a rainbow pin on his lanyard, started with icebreakers. "Share one truth," he said. "No judgments." William went first, voice barely above a whisper. "My brother. We crossed a line. Family found out. Dad beat us for it. Now he's dead, and I'm terrified I'll lose Chris too." The room held its breath, then exhaled in murmurs, me toos and nods that felt like lifelines. When my turn came, the words stuck like tar. "I started it," I admitted, throat raw. "Offered him everything. Thought it was love. Maybe it was. But it broke us all." Tears came unbidden, hot tracks down my face, and William's hand found mine under the chair, squeezing till it hurt. Sessions blurred into months. Tears, laughter, the slow unraveling of knots. We learned words for the mess. Codependency, grooming shadows, the gray space where consent blurs in isolation. It hurt, peeling back layers to expose the rot. But in the rawness, we found air. William started running again, pounding the trails along the Kamite River, earbuds blasting indie rock, sweat washing away the weight. I picked up boxing at a gym in Denham Springs, gloves thudding against heavy bags till my arms screamed, channeling rage into rhythm. One night, after a particularly brutal group share, some kid's story of conversion therapy camps that left scars deeper than skin, William came over wired, eyes bright with that old fire. "I need to feel something good," he said, pulling me into the kitchen, hands framing my face. Our kiss was tentative, exploratory, tasting of mint gum and possibility. No frenzy, just presence, lips parting slow, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. We made it to the bedroom, clothes shedding like old skin, and it was different, reverent, eyes locked, whispers of yes and here. Afterward, tangled in fresh sheets, he traced my tattoos with a fingertip. "This isn't rushing back," he murmured. "It's choosing forward." I kissed his forehead, heart full to bursting. Damn right, but peace is fragile in the South, where old grudges simmer like A to Fee. Trouble brewed when Ray's son, my cousin Tommy, a hot-headed deputy with a buzz cut and a chip on his shoulder, started sniffing around. He'd been at the funeral, shooting daggers our way, and now, with Dad's estate settled, whispers turned to action. One evening, as I locked up the garage, his cruiser idled at the curb, lights off but engine growling low. "Chris," he drawled, stepping out in full uniform, hand resting casual on his holster. Heard you're shacking up with the kid brother. Town talk says it's unnatural. I wiped grease from my hands on a rag. Pulse steady. Town talk's always wrong. Tommy. What's your play? He smirked, toothpick rolling between teeth. Just a friendly warning. Ray's got pull with the sheriff. Keep it clean, or we'll make it your problem. The threat hung, veiled as chivalry, but I saw the venom. Tell Uncle Ray we're good. Or don't. Your call. I climbed into my truck, peeling out before he could retort. But the encounter soured the night. William was waiting with pizza and a movie, some rom-com fluff about mistaken identities, but I paced, agitation coiling tight. Tommy? He guessed, pausing the flick. I nodded, spilling it all. His face hardened, that runner's determination flashing. Fuck them. We're not hiding anymore. The next day, he dragged me to a pride event downtown, Baton Rouge's modest affair, rainbow flags flapping along the riverfront, food trucks slinging beignet and boudin balls. It was awkward at first, me in jeans and a plain tee, him in a tank that showed off his runner's build. But the crowd enveloped us. Drag queens in feather boas lip-syncing Gaga, families with kids waving glitter signs. We held hands openly, his palms sweaty but sure, and when a street preacher started ranting about hellfire, a chorus of love winds drowned him out. That's when I met Javier, a tattoo artist with sleeves of intricate Day of the Dead skulls and a laugh like summer thunder. He was inking a volunteer booth, needle humming, and William struck up a chat about design. You should model for me, Javi said, winking. Got that classic Southern grit. We swapped numbers, and later, over a beat of beers at a pop-up bar, he shared his story, fleeing Mexico City for San Antonio, then drifting to BR for the weird energy. No judgment, just easy camaraderie that chipped at my walls. William noticed, of course. He's hot, he teased on the drive home, elbow nudging my ribs. Think he'd go for a grease monkey? I snorted. Only if he likes motor oil with his tequila. But the seed planted, curiosity blooming in the fertile soil of our new normal. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting the streets in crimson and gold, LSU games roaring from tailgates uptown. William aced his midterms, sketching concepts for a local mural project. Visions of diverse faces rising from the floodwaters, resilient and unbowed. I took him out proper. Dinner at Perrane's, oysters Rockefeller sliding down throats like forbidden knowledge. Then a walk along the levee, stars pricking the velvet sky. Under the pecan trees, branches heavy with promise. He stopped, turning to me with moonlight in his eyes. Chris, I've been seeing someone. Casually. Javi. The words landed soft but seismic, cracking the ground beneath us. I nodded, throat dry, forcing a smile. Yeah, he seems solid. William searched my face, anxious. It's not replacing, just exploring. You should too. We deserve that. He was right. That weekend, I texted Javi, nerves jangling like loose timing belts. Coffee turned to tacos at a hole in the wall on Perkins, his stories pulling laughs from me I didn't know I had. He was easy, no baggage unpacked on date one, just heat in his gaze when he brushed my hand. We ended up back at his place, a loft above the shop smelling of ink and incense, bodies colliding in a tangle of limbs and gasps. It was good, raw, affirming, but as I drove home at dawn, William's truck already in the drive, guilt twisted sharp. We talked at breakfast, pancakes sizzling on the griddle, truth spilling like syrup. It felt wrong, I admitted, flipping a flapjack. Like cheating on us. He reached across, fingers lacing mine. It's not. We're brothers first. Lovers. Maybe always, but not exclusively. Poly, open, whatever fits. The word poly hung. Revolutionary. We dove in slow, rules sketched on napkins over coffee. Honesty absolute. Veto power. Weekly check-ins. Javi became a fixture. Threesomes tentative at first. Then electric. His energy bridging our history with fresh spark. William dated a girl from his art class. Mia, fiery redhead with opinions on everything, proving his bisexuality no phase but facet. It wasn't seamless. Jealousy flared, me snapping when William stayed over at Mia's, him withdrawing when Javi and I shared too many inside jokes. But therapy honed US communication as muscle, flexed till it ached but strengthened. Ray even softened, cornering me at a family barbecue with a gruff, "Kids happy. That's something to progress, inch by inch." Winter brought chill winds off the Gulf. Holidays a minefield navigated with care. Christmas Eve. We hosted, Javi manning the gumbo, Mia stringing lights, Ray showing with pie and a nod. Toasts rang out, glasses clinking to absent ghosts, and as snow, rare miracle, dusted the yard, William pulled me aside, breath fogging the window. "This is it, Chris. The life we fought for." I kissed him then, deep and sure, the party murmur fading. Ours. All of it. Spring unfurled in Prairieville like a slow seduction. Dogwoods blooming pink against the emerald sprawl of fields. The air thick with pollen and possibility. William's mural project took off, a commission for the riverfront revitalization. His designs splashed across mock-ups in The Advocate. Faces of Baton Rouge's unsung heroes, from drag performers to flood survivors, intertwined in a tapestry of resilience. Critics called it a bold reclamation. Locals grumbled about woke art, but the city council ponied up, and suddenly, Will was the talk of coffee shops and crawfish boils. I watched him thrive, a quiet pride swelling in my chest like yeast in dough. Mornings, I'd wake to the scratch of his pencil on sketchpad, coffee brewing strong, while I tinkered in the garage with a '72 Chevy rebuild, a side hustle turning hobby into hope. Javi inked a piece on my bicep to match, a phoenix rising from bayou muck, flames licking Spanish moss. "For the burn and the rebirth," he said, needle pricking steady, his free hand warm on my thigh. But growth invites storms. Tommy's harassment escalated that April. A ticket for a taillight I swore was fine. Then a welfare check at 2 a.m. That left William shaking, questions probing too personal. "Just doing my job," Tommy sneered through the door crack, badge glinting under the porch light. We filed complaints, internal affairs dragging feet, but the chill settled, paranoia a third roommate. It peaked at the mural unveiling, a riverside gala with brass bands and beignet, councilmen in seersucker schmoozing donors. William's work loomed 10 feet high on plywood panels, vibrant under floodlights, a crowd murmuring approval. He stood beaming in chinos and a button-up, hairstyled for once, Mia on one arm, me on the other, Javi snapping pics with his phone. Pride swelled, but then Tommy appeared, uniform crisp, flanked by 2 uniforms, weaving through the throng like sharks scenting blood. "Evening. Artists," he drawled, eyes raking us. "Fine work. Though some might say it's provocative." His gaze lingered on William, then me. implication thick as rue. William stiffened, chin lifting. It's honest, deputy. Something this town's short on. Tommy chuckled, low and mean. Careful, kid. Honesty gets you hurt. He tipped his hat, sauntering off, but the threat echoed, souring the champagne toast. We left early, piling into my truck, tension coiling tight. He's got nothing, I growled, gunning toward home. But William was quiet, staring at the dashboard glow. It's wearing me down, Chris. Like Dad all over again. That night, after Javi and Mia crashed on the couch, too buzzed to drive, we lay awake, ceiling fans stirring stale air. Maybe we leave, he whispered, head on my chest. Austin's calling. That firm offered me a junior spot. The idea pierced, bittersweet. Baton Rouge was roots, scars, but also chains. If that's what you want, I said, though it tore. I'll follow, he propped on an elbow, eyes searching. We. Together. But yeah. Fresh start. Decisions snowballed. Resumes polished. Apartments scouted via Zoom. Goodbyes scripted for Ray and the garage crew. Javi opted in. Texas needs more ink. Packing his rig with machines and memories. Mia bowed out gracefully, her path veering to grad school in Atlanta, their fling a fond footnote. Moving day dawned sticky, U-Haul bloated with boxes, farewell barbecue smoking in the yard. Ray showed, beer in hand, clapping my shoulder awkward. Y'all take care. And Will. That mural? Proud. William hugged him fierce, the old man's eyes misting surprising. The drive to Austin was a caravan, my truck towing the Chevy trailer, Javi's van tailing with a bed liner full of art supplies. William rode shotgun, playlist eclectic, Outcast for the Louisiana line, Willie Nelson for the piney woods. We crossed into Texas under a sky bruised purple, longhorns grazing fence lines, the air dryer, promising. Austin hit like a fever dream. Live music bleeding from every bar on 6th Street. Food trucks hawking brisket tacos that redefined sin. Hills rolling green under Lady Bird Lake. We scored a bungalow in East Austin. Shotgun style but hip. Turquoise door. Muraled alley. Neighbors blasting conjunto at dusk. William started at the firm Monday, sketching ad campaigns for craft breweries, his commute a bike ride past food truck pods. I landed at a custom shop in Round Rock, welding hot rods for tech bros with deep pockets, the pay bump easing the transplant shock. Javi set up in a South Congress walk-in, his phoenixes and lotuses drawing influencers like flies to honey. Nights, we'd converge, potlucks with migas and boudin balls, Javi's guitar strumming under string lights, William's laughter freer, unburdened. The open dynamic deepened. Dates solo, then shared, boundaries blurring into trust. One weekend, we road-tripped to Big Bend, pitching tents under impossible stars, bodies entwined in sleeping bags, the desert vast and forgiving. But scars itch in new skin. William's nightmares resurfaced, triggered by a client brief on family values ads, Dad's ghost snarling in his sleep. Therapy went virtual. Dr. Patel's face pixelated but steady. Triggers are teachers. What do they say? We journaled. Hiked Barton Creek to sweat them out. Fucked with intention, slow. Affirming. Reclaiming agency. My own demons stirred too. A bar fight in a dive-off lavaca. Some redneck slur about brother lovers. Landing a haymaker I returned double. Javi bailed me out. Ice pack to my eye. But William's disappointment cut deeper. "We're better than this," he said, bandaging my knuckles. "Don't let them win." He was right. I channeled it into ink. Javi's needle etching a mandala over my heart. Symmetry for the chaos. Community anchored us. A queer men's group at the Unitarian Church. Hikes with a polypod that swapped stories over IPAs. Austin breathed easier. Acceptance woven into the weirdness. No side eyes at hand-holding. Pride a month-long carnival. Summer scorched. Festivals pulsing. ACL with its kaleidoscope crowds. William dancing mudslick to Tame Impala. Me guarding our spot with a cooler of Shiner. One night, post-set, he pulled me into a porta-potty line kiss. Public, unapologetic, crowd whooping approval. "Love you," he yelled over the bass, and it landed different. Not desperate, but declarative. Fall brought milestones. William's first solo exhibit at a gallery on Congress. His pieces, abstract bayous bleeding into urban grids, selling to collectors who gushed evocative. I proposed a road trip for his birthday. Just us. Highway 10 west to Marfa. Ghost lights flickering prairies. Then north to Taos for Adobe warmth. No Javi. No distractions, brothers reclaiming the road. In a Taos casita, adobe walls cool against sun-baked skin. We hiked the Rio Grande Gorge, bridges swaying vertigo high. At the rim, wind whipping, he turned to me, eyes fierce. "That night in the kitchen, offering you. It wasn't a mistake. It was the start." I cupped his face, thumbs tracing jaw. "Saved me. Both of us. We made love on a blanket under ponderosis. Deliberate exploring scars, whispering affirmations. No rush to define, just presence. The river rushing below like absolution. Back in Austin, life layered richer. Javi and I started a side gig, custom bike frames. My welds meeting his etchings in rolling art. William climbed at the firm, pitching inclusive campaigns that landed national clients. Holidays blended traditions. Thanksgiving gumbo with tamales. New Year's on the lake with fireworks mirroring our spark. Yet winter whispered tests. A call from Baton Rouge Ray. Voice gravel. Cousin Tommy's in trouble. I cleared him, but he's spiraling. Booze. Fights. Thought you should know. Closure? Or ghost? We debated, then booked flights home, not fleeing, but facing. The old town felt smaller, ghosts friendlier. Tommy met us at a neutral diner, hollow-eyed over coffee. "I was wrong," he mumbled. "No badge, just a man. Dad Ray made me. But seeing you too. Happy? It stuck. Handshakes thawed to hugs. A fragile bridge rebuilt. Ray passed that spring, quiet in his sleep, leaving the garage to me, a prodigal inheritance. We sold it, donating proceeds to a local LGBTQ youth shelter. Bricks laid on better ground. 2 years in Austin, William proposed not ring, but ink. Matching phoenixes on our ribs, Javi's needle binding us. The ceremony was us, backyard vows under oaks. Javi officiating in a feather boa, friends toasting with craft IPAs. "To chosen family," William said, as locked on mine, and the crowd echoed, a chorus of yes. It's not perfect, arguments flare over dishes or deadlines, jealousy nips at heels, the past a shadow at beltline. But in the marrow, we're whole, brothers, lovers, survivors. Love, in all its messy incarnations, is the humanism we claimed flawed, fierce, eternally ours. The Austin sun baked the bungalow's roof tiles to furnace heat as we settled into the rhythm of permanence, the weirdness of the city seeping into our bones like Lone Star Lager on a patio. William's exhibit had catapulted him, invites to South by Southwest panels, a freelance gig with a streaming service for set designs that paid in stock options and street cred. He'd traded his bike for a Vespa, zipping through traffic with a messenger bag slung low, curls wind-tousled under a helmet that made him look like a rogue artist from a Wes Anderson flick. "This is living," he'd say, kicking back on the porch swing with a sketchpad, charcoal smudging his fingers black as midnight. I thrived too. The round rock shop a playground of chrome and torque. Building a '69 Camaro for a music exec that purred like a panther, its lines etched with Javi's skeletal roses. Our triad deepened, boundaries fluid as the Colorado River after rains. Mornings with Javi's coffee and crosswords, afternoons stealing William away for trail runs at Barton Springs. Nights tangled in permutations that left us breathless and bonded. Poly wasn't easy, scheduling date nights like corporate mergers, navigating the emotional minefield of compersion. But it worked, a mosaic stronger for its cracks. Still, the past clawed back, insidious as chiggers after a hike. Tommy's call came midsummer, voice slurred over a bad connection. "Chris. Need help. Lost the badge." Everything. We'd patched tentatively after Baton Rouge. Beers at a neutral sports bar where he admitted Ray's pressure cooker upbringing. But this was fracture. William advocated mercy. He's family, twisted as it is. So we wired bus fare, booked him a room at a halfway house off I-35. He arrived gaunt, eyes darting like a cornered coyote, duffel clutched like a shield. We met at a taqueria in South Austin, al pastor sizzling on the comal, the air thick with lime and regret. "Fucked up," he admitted, fork stabbing carnitas. "After you left, the town turned on me too, whispers about favoritism. Then the DUI. Ray disowned me same as Dad did you. Empathy warred with wariness. Blood's pull is primal. William, ever the soft touch, offered our couch. Short term, till you stand. And against my gut, I agreed." Tommy slotted in awkward, odd jobs at the shop, washing dishes with sullen efficiency, evenings nursing NA coffees while we tiptoed around triggers. Javi eyed him cautious, his Mexican pragmatism sensing snakes. But William saw a redemption arc, sketching Tommy's portrait in quiet moments, jaws clenched, eyes haunted, a modern prodigal. It unraveled fast. One night, after a group hike where Tommy lagged, nursing blisters and bitterness, he cornered William in the kitchen. Voice low venom. "You think you're better? Seducing your own brother. Freak show." William shoved back, glass shattering on tile, and I burst in fists ready. Tommy backed down, mumbling apologies, but the venom lingered, poisoning the air. We gave him an ultimatum, therapy or out, and he chose flight, vanishing with a scrawled sorry on fridge magnet poetry. Hurt stung, but closure came in his absence. We tried, and that was grace enough. "Not our circus anymore," Javi said, sweeping shards, his arm around William's waist. We glued tighter, the incident a stress test passed. Autumn gilded the hills, festivals layering scents of smoked brisket and fermenting grapes at wineries along 290. William's South by Southwest talk, design as defiance, queering the visual narrative, drew a packed house, his slides pulsing with bayou motifs morphed into pixelated prides. I sat front row, chest swelling, Javi live-tweeting quips. Post-panel Q&A turned tense, a heckler in a MAGA cap snarling indoctrination. But William dismantled him with wit. Art's not indoctrination, it's invitation. Take it or leave. Backstage, he crashed into my arms. Adrenaline electric. That was you, he panted. Your strength. We celebrated at a dive on Rainy Street. Bungalows pulsing with blues. Shots of Espelon blurring into dawn. Javi drove us home. William dozing against my shoulder. The city lights streaking like shooting stars. Winter whispered changes. Javi's green card renewal hit snags. Bureaucracy's iron grip, and we rallied. Crowdfunding a lawyer through the queer network. Petitions signed at coffee shops. Stress frayed him. Nights pacing the loft stairs. But William's murals for immigrant rights, vibrant borders dissolving into welcomes, channeled it. I welded a sculpture for a solidarity march, interlocking gears in rainbow steel, symbolizing machinery of justice. My own pivot came subtle, a client at the shop, a nonprofit director scouting for a makerspace, pitched collaboration, vocational training for at-risk queer youth, teaching trades in safe space. Your story, she said, could inspire. I hesitated, exposing the incest scar, but William urged, humanity's in the sharing. We launched it spring. The Forge. Garage bays retrofitted with pride flags, classes in welding and design. First cohort, kids with eyes like William's at 19, wary but willing, welded their first bead under my eye, sparks flying like hope. Success snowballed. Grants flowed. Media snippets in Texas Monthly calling it a beacon in the Bible Belt. William contributed curricula. Javi inking apprentices' portfolios. Tommy even wrote a postcard from rehab in Houston. Grateful. Building better. Threads weaving wider. But climax brewed personal. William's firm offered a promotion, creative director in LA. 6 figures and star treatment. It's huge, he said over dinner at Franklin's. Brisket melting tender. Eyes alight. Javi hooped. Clinking forks. I forced cheer. Gut twisting. LA? Hollywood haze. He sobered. Fork pausing. Come with? Or stay? I won't go without you. The choice loomed. Fork in the road. Austin rooted us, the Forge thriving. Javi's shop booming. Our bungalow a haven. But LA whispered reinvention. Bigger stages for William's talent. Nights blurred in debate. Pros/cons on napkins. Javi mediating neutral. Follow your fire. Me, Joe? But my fear anchored. What if distance diluted us? The triad stretching thin? Decision crystallized in a storm. Literal. Thunder rumbling hills as we drove back from a hill country winery. Rain sheeting windshield. William gripped my thigh. Voice steady. I turn it down. This is home. Relief flooded, but guilt nipped. No. Take it. We'll make it work. Commutes. Visits. Love adapts. He searched my face. Tears mixing with rain streaks. You sure? Surer than anything. We pulled over at a scenic overlook. Lightning fracturing sky. And made promises in the cab, visits monthly. FaceTime rituals. The poly net flexible. LA swallowed him that summer. A sleek condo in Silver Lake. Palm shadows dancing walls. First weeks ached. Empty side of the bed. Javi and I rattling the bungalow like ghosts. But we adapted, weekend flights. Me crashing on his couch amid script readings. Javi syncing visits with tattoo cons in Vegas. William bloomed red carpet events for shows he designed. Cameos in indie docs on Queer South. But homesickness bled through calls. Miss the humidity. Miss you. Betrayal's echo surfaced in fragments. A tabloid whisper of him with a co-star. Blurry pap shots at a premiere afterparty. Jealousy flared. Text sharpening. Who's the arm candy? He clarified. PR fluff. Platonic, but doubt festered. Old insecurities whispering not enough. Confrontation brewed over Labor Day. Me flying in for a hike in Griffith Park. Trails dusty under chaparral. Midway up, sweat stinging eyes. It erupted. You left for this? Lights and lies. Accusations flew. Raw as switchblades. My clinging, his ambition, the distance a chasm. He stopped, hands on knees, breath ragged. I left for us. To build something bigger, so we don't scrape by forever. Tears carve tracks in dust. But if it's breaking you, I quit. The vulnerability cracked me. I pulled him close. Trail empty. Eucalyptus sharp. Don't. We fight through. Kisses salty. Reconciliation heated on a boulder overlook. City sprawling below like conquered territory. We restructured. Javi relocated partial. Splitting time between Austin and LA. His van a nomad's chariot. I shuttered the forge temporarily, subletting to a colleague, taking remote consults for West Coast builds. The triad triangulated stronger, rotations of homes, shared calendars like love letters. By year's end, Williams' LA tenure stabilized. A producing credit on a queer rom-com, billboards of diverse casts beaming nationwide. We celebrated Christmas in Austin, trees strung with welded ornaments. Javi's tamales steaming beside Williams' king cake. Toasts to resilience, the poly weave tighter. Yet humanism's core is impermanence. Spring brought Javi's diagnosis, early lymphoma, caught via routine scan, chemo looming like storm clouds. We rallied. Austin for treatment, MD Anderson's halls echoing our steps. William commuting fierce, me welding adaptive tools for his weakened grip. Laughter pierced dark, bad wigs at infusions, Javi sketching chemo bags as piñatas. Remission came fragile, summer solstice sun gilding hospital discharge papers. Second chance, he rasped, our hands layered on his. Recovery wove us intimate. Slow fucks on recovery days, Williams' designs for wellness apps born of vigil. Through it, betrayal's ghost faded, not erased, but integrated, scar tissue toughening. Tommy resurfaced, sober, sponsoring in Houston, visiting for a barbecue, amends awkward but authentic. You saved me. Indirect, he said, flipping burgers. Forgiveness, earned slow. 2 years post-LA leap, William returned full-time, firm allowing hybrid, our bungalow expanding with a studio addition. The forge reopened grander, apprentices welding murals under his guidance. Javi's shop thrived, ink flowing freer. On our anniversary, the rain-soaked kitchen kiss. 5 years prior, we renewed under oaks, friends circling, rings etched with phoenix flames. To moments that change everything, William vowed. Eyes locked, and in that circle, brothers, lovers, family forged. I knew we'd offered too much, lost more, but gained the ineffable human grace. Love, unyielding. The bungalow's studio edition gleamed under LED strips. Williams' drafting table a chaos of MacBooks and Copic markers. The air humming with the low whir of his Wacom tablet as he finessed a pitch for a Netflix limited series. Queer Southern Gothic. Bayous bleeding into Hollywood backlots. Austin had evolved around us. The city's pulse quickening with tech influx and queer migrations. 6 Streets bungalows now microbrew havens. Our alley mural a local landmark touched up annually by neighborhood kids under his tutelage. Mornings started ritual. Me brewing community coffee dark roast. Javi shuffling in with fresh tortillas from the tortilleria. William emerging tousled, planting kisses round-robin before vanishing into deadlines. The forge boomed. Bays full with apprentices. Trans welders fabricating pride installations. Ex-foster queer kids learning MIG on scrap till their hands steadied. I mentored hands-on. Calluses teaching patience. But the real spark was William's integration. Design workshops where sparks met strokes. Metal frames for his canvas concepts. One project, a kinetic sculpture for the Austin Pride Parade. Gears turning rainbows under LED glow. Drew citywide buzz. Floats trailing in homage. Javi's recovery anchored deep. Chemo's shadow receding to quarterly scans. His ink boulder. A series of survivor mandalas commissioned for cancer centers. Needles tracing resilience. Our triad matured. Less novelty, more norm. Date rotations sacrosanct. Jealousy tamed to fleeting pangs aired over group texts. Intimacy layered. Lazy Sundays with William's head in my lap. Javi's fingers strumming guitar. Heated triads where boundaries dissolved in trust. Solo nights recharging solitude's quiet. Tommy's redemption arc steadied. Houston AA meetings birthing a sponsor role. Visits monthly with craft IPAs and tales of amends. He even dated. A quiet accountant with a dry wit. Parade's flags tentative at first, then proud. You showed me how, he admitted over brisket at Franklin's. Our booth a confessional. Blood mended, not seamless but strong. Yet drama simmers in success. William's Netflix gig escalated greenlight, then table read invites. Producers sniffing authenticity from our lives. They want the incest angle sanitized, he vented post-call. Pacing the kitchen, phone clutched white-knuckled. Tragic brothers to star-crossed lovers. No grit. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Your call. But don't let Hollywood launder us. He deflated, sinking into a chair. It's exposure. Funding for the forge. Maybe. But yeah. It cheapens. We workshopped boundaries. Consultants. Not actors. Story vetoes ironclad. Javi mediated. His artists I spotting tropes. Make it human messy. Not melodrama. The series dropped. Bayou Bonds. Critics lauding raw Southern queer verite. But backlash brewed. Southern Baptists boycotting. Online trolls doxing our handles with slurs. Tommy fielded local heat. His deputy ties quashed rumors. We hunkered. Support pouring from queer networks, GoFundMe's for security. Cameos from allies like a trans congresswoman. Climax crested at the Emmys afterparty. LA's Chateau Marmont swarming with A-listers. William's name on lips for Best Production Design. We flew en masse. Me in ill-fitting tux. Javi's boa clashing velvet. Tommy as +1 wingman. Red carpet flashes blinded. William poised. Arm linked mine. Javi's hand low on his back. Inside. Champagne flowed. Toasts clinking as he clutched the statuette. Speech cracking. For brothers who broke and built me. For love that defies. Elation soured swift. A producer. Scotch loose. Cornering us in a velvet booth. Great show. But tone down the family fuckery next season. Network skittish. William's face iced. I stepped forward. Voice steel. That's the story. Take it or fuck off. Scandal leaked by Dawn. Variety blurb on creative clashes. Twitter erupting in Bayou Bonds feuds. Sponsors pulled from the forge. Donors wavering. William's firm hinted distraction. Betrayal stung fresh. Ambitions cost. Art commodified. Back in Austin. Jet-lagged and raw. We circled wagons. Emergency board meeting at the shop. Apprentices rallying with "We Weld Strong" tees. Javi's ink drive for legal fees. Needles buzzing solidarity. Depression hit William hardest. Studio dark. Sketches crumpled. "I poisoned it," he muttered, curled on the couch. My lap his pillow. Nights, I'd hold him through sobs. Javi brewing tisanes. Tommy dropping off Whataburger runs with gruff. "You got this." Therapy doubled down. Group intensives unpacking fame's Faustian bargain. Dr. Patel's voice steady. Success amplifies shadows. Shine light. Rebound brewed organic. A counterpitch. Williams docuseries. Forged in fire. Queer makers of the South. Crowdfunded via Kickstarter. Bypassing gates. Apprentices starred. Welding testimonies. Javi inked title sequences. I framed narratives. Premiered at Outfest. Standing O shaking rafters. Streaming deals following sand strings. Triumph tempered growth. Tommy proposed to his accountant civil union in a backyard affair. Us toasting with Shiner. We expanded the forge to Houston satellite. Tommy consulting security. Bridging past to purpose. Javi's scans cleared full. Celebrating with a tattoo pilgrimage to Oaxaca. Patterns of Alabrige's blooming skin. Personal tides turned too. William and I stole a brother retreat. Gulf Coast shrimper's cabin. No Wi-Fi, just casts and confessions. Over bonfires crackling driftwood. He admitted, the offering. It haunts, but heals. We're proof. Love survives scrutiny. I nodded, embers glowing. Humanity's in the surviving. Back home. Javi surprised. A custom ring set. 3 interlocking bands of Damascus steel I forged. Etched with phoenixes. No ceremony. Just us under oaks at dusk. Vows whispered. Through betrayals. Beyond blood. Rings slid warm. Sealing the weave. Years layered. Forge franchising to NOLA. Williams doc Emmy nominated. Javi's gallery show selling out. Tommy's wedding birthed a niece. Chubby fisted. Us uncles doting. Storms hit. Health scares minor. Arguments flaring, but we weathered. Poly resilient. On the 10th anniversary of that rainy kitchen, we gathered. Bungalow porch strung lights. Apprentices grilling. Tommy's family mingling. William raised a glass. Eyes misting. To the moment that changed everything. Offering too much. Receiving grace. Echoes rose. Hearts full. In the South's sultry embrace. We'd carved home. Not perfect, but profoundly human. Love's defiant, enduring art.